Kwe Kwe, greetings. Welcome to another video. It is a morning video, so you will be happy to know that it won't be more than 2 hours. And so am I. Um, well, y'all, I was just here fighting back some eye water. Okay. When I tell you that it hurts my heart, I ain't lying. Okay. What we are in, here's the good news. You see, I try to be positive. Uh, if something is overwhelmingly, shall we say, uh, infected, overwhelmingly ill at ease, and you can't salvage it, you have to, shall we say, start anew. You have to do away with it. And oh, it's overwhelming. The net that was cast over American Indians is a very large one. It is so large. Uh, do we recall the song? Was it the singer's name? He said, "This heavy love is too high to get over, too low to get under." Uh, and I forgot the other one. Too wide to get around, and it's weighing me down. That I'll remember the singer later, and I'll probably have to put it in. Uh, I could almost see his face, but this is what we are dealing with. Something that is so high, so deep, and so wide that we have to call for it to be eradicated. That's all we can do, Indians. It's all we can do. I hope people, I hope Indians are hearing what I say. Um, you ask the ancestors for something, they give it to you, and then you say, "Okay, that's too much. Let's no, no." When it comes to the ancestors delivering, I think it's our duty to follow. That is why we are a condemned, as in as much as we've been condemned. It is the disconnect from the ancestors that's really doing the number on us more than any colonizer could. So I wanted to follow up on that Washita Moors uh, word that we got. Um, the word that we got was that UNDRIP included blacks or Africans who were brought here to the Americas, right? And so I was, ever since I read that, I've been trying to find out, what does he mean by that? It's not that I don't believe him, because I don't put nothing past the United Nations. The entire thing, I said it's too high to get over, too low to get under, too wide to get around. What's his name? Johnny something? Oh gosh. I can't remember. Uh Wait a minute, that's Ruffin. How could I not know Ruffin? David Ruffin, this heavy love. His voice is very distinctive. David Ruffin told us this heavy love or this kind of love. Yeah, this is what we're in, ladies and gentlemen, Indians. See, I'm very careful now to try to use the word Indians because the definitions I'm finding today are blowing my mind. Okay. So the brother who wrote that piece we read about the 5 civilized tribes, that was the video, the 5 civilized tribes are Moors, right? We heard it from the author who wrote America is the True Old World. I believe his name is Amen Ra. Oh boy, something El Bay. Ah, Amen Ra. Oh, it's not coming to my mind right now, but you know who I'm talking about, right? So when he said that UNDRIP applies to African Americans, or Africans, I should say, who were brought here in the slave trade, I was like, brother, just tell it. So from that point on, I have secretly been trying to follow up on that. Now, I will tell you, I don't find it in UNDRIP written explicitly as he says. But baby, when I tell you what I do find in UNDRIP, well, let's get into this. Let's get into this. This is the savior of Indians that we're looking at. And Indians, this is it for them. So a document that is not anywhere mentioned in our Constitution, because when we did our Constitution, we covered all of those bases, right? We were Indians. In fact, we left it so open. We left ourselves an open field. Now, the Iroquois did this with the intention of us being caught up in colonizer, jurisdiction. But truly, the door is still there for us to walk through. And when I tell you, I mean get out, I mean get out. Because this thing that has been cast upon us is too high to get over, it's too low to get under, it's too wide to get around. So what we're going to say, what we Indians are going to say is, we have to eradicate the entire construct because it's been built almost airtight. And you're going to see what I'm talking about. And I think you're going to finally let go of this United Nations Declaration on the rights of indigenous people. This is not for us, y'all. It wasn't created by us. Do you understand what it means to have creation rights? Creation jurisdiction, creation authority, whatever you want to call it. You have to write it. And you have to stand on, you have to know your rights. You have to know your rights. I'm telling you, when I say America is the last place where this is possible, the only place where it is possible, why? The Moors went out and created everything that's outside of the Americas. That's why we were called the New World. They lied. The Moors lied. Okay? The Moors lied. Wasn't Caucasians. It was the Moors who lied to the Caucasians. And all the Caucasians did was believe it. That was their daddy. They believed their father, right? Okay, so what we're going to do here today, first we're going to let's look up the word person. We got to deal with, we tried to look for indigenous, because you see these words, we have to figure out, what do they mean legally, right? Okay, but never worry, never fear. Once we get clear, we are going to throw away the Black's Law Dictionary. We're going to throw away all these laws that don't apply to Indians, everything, the whole entire thing. That's how we're going to get out American Indians. We're going to say You've given us no way out in your system. So we have to stand on our birthright and say we reject, as a people who have been thoroughly colonized, we have to reject all machinations, documentations, everything that the colonizer has brought here. We literally have to, if it was a court case, first of all, we would call the court, right? It would be a group of us Indians, right? And it would not be in their courts, okay? We have a right to hold court as a sovereign people that we are, okay? Or we're going to get it right in America, y'all. Before this thing is ever done, America will be restored, y'all, to the Indians, okay? We're dealing with abundant greed here because, again, every landmass outside of the Americas, that is fair game. And but when I say that, I'm not saying it's hopeless for those people. They have a separate fight from us. They are fighting with their father. I know it sounds almost too unreal, but that is the authority that the Moors are taking over the rest of the world, not over the Americas. Why? Because the Moors are not our daddy, baby. No, they're not. At best, they're our brother, unfortunately. And that would be more like the evil twin, okay? That's what we're talking about. But to the rest of the world, that's their daddy. That's the authority. Now, the world is going to say, well, we don't know nothing about that, blah, 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 blah. You don't understand creation authority. You don't understand creation rights. The Moors have already taken authority over the world, and they're basing it on the fact that they have genetically altered themselves into several races, okay? And I know we think it just sounds crazy, but here's the thing: they have taken ownership, whether we like it or not. Okay, whether we like it or not, they have studied the ancient writings, the ancient spirituality, and they know that they have a creation rights over the rest of the world outside of the Americas. They have taken the Mongoloids, everything, all of that. It comes from the Moors. Okay, so okay, so what I want to do is we want to look up first people. Well, we see people. I'm sorry, this is person. People is the very first, that's in the title of this document. Peoples, right? So it's not the rights of Indians, right? Now, Indians is in our Constitution. That's being completely eradicated in the international jurisdiction. We're not really talking about Indians because this document is highlighting, it's specifying indigenous people, not American Indians, right? Because they're overriding us, y'all. We're going to be lumped together like we always have been. And once that happens, we're going to be at the bottom of whatever that thing is that we will lump together with. We will be the bottom of it. I promise you. You got to learn from your mistakes. You've got to learn from history. The hell are we doing here? So, the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. Let's start from the beginning. We're going to go with people because that's what I should have done. Let's go with people. Is that the first thing we have? No, we don't have that. Let's start with people. So, what is the people that the United Nations is given right to? Here's the definition here. People. What's the first thing you see there? People is a state. We just drop the mic right there. And what did we learn about states, Indians? We learned that our United States were just the first, or probably the second, in a world federation of states. So we are being made part of a larger puzzle. It's not, there's nothing unique about America, okay? the only thing that's unique about America is that we're being lied to more than anybody on the freaking planet. We're being told that this is a world for free people. It's a nation for free persons or whatever. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's just a world that would take it, that a monarchy has figured out how to dominate us using a system that they created. The pivotal point is that they created it. It was created by a monarchy, y'all. The system, the states, created by monarchy. The Constitution, created by a monarchy. The terms, people, that's a state. What was the state created? Who created the state? We learned this in the last few videos. So the first big problem we have with UNDRIP is that it was created for people in a state. Indians don't live in states. So the rights of indigenous people is for a colonized people, not for Indians. You can read the rest of that. I'm not going to really go deep with when we need to see the origin, the beginning. People is a state. As the people of the state of New York, they didn't even go with the constitutional state here, y'all. They look at this. It should have said a state as the people of New York State. But you see, New York State would talk to, my God, the whole thing is created by them. You know what? I'm not going to even go with what kind of state of New York State. When I say the whole thing, we have to call an injunction for Indians, y'all. Now, I don't know how this is going to apply to immigrants. What I was going to say before that I didn't finish. When I said that the world is owned by the world outside of the Americas is owned by the Moors, this is on a level that people will never fathom. But it's something that the Moors operate. This is the point where they operate from, whether you know it or not. But so what I'm saying is, I'm not saying you can't get out because of the domination of the Moors, but I'm saying you have to face them. You have your own fight with them. You see, they designed a world where instead of fighting them, you come run into the Americas, another trap that they have infiltrated. Unfortunately, yes, they have infiltrated our beloved ancient ancestral lands. The Moors have come back as an infestation in our land. So what they have done is designed they've redesigned our ancestral lands into an escape room. But you see, once you're in the escape room, you're still being dominated by who? The Moors, not Indians. Indians have been effectively nullified by being called Black. We have no power in our own ancestral lands due to the word spells of these MFers, okay? But you know what? The knowledge is what the power is, y'all. And now that we know, now we can call on the ancestors, y'all. Now we can tell the ancestors what we need. We need the quickest exit out of this. And what our argument is, again, Indians, our argument is the system you have created, it leaves no room for me to exist as an Indian, as an Indian that is not subject to your monarchy. So we nullify, we void the entire contract, the entire thing. There is no word in your system that stands for Indians. Why? Because if it's a word you created, you're going to call creation rights. Even if it sounds good to us, we have to reject it. We're not under your jurisdiction. So what is that? You want to know what the problem is with the rights of indigenous people? It's that it's for people and not Indians. What is a people? A state. Were Indians ever in a state? before colonization? No, they weren't. That is your first problem right in the beginning of this damned document. Indigenous people, indigenous states. They're talking about their 5 civilized tribes, y'all. That's why you don't want to be part of the Cherokee Nation, the Washita Nation, the Seminole Nation, the Chickasaw Nation, the Choctaw Nation. That's the people this is the indigenous. They already took ownership of them. And they have wiped the floor with these Indians. I don't know what these Indians think they got, but y'all got crap. What it is you just been, I want to say annexed to their empire in a way that leaves you virtually identityless, without an identity. You don't have an identity outside of your colonizer when you join your colonizer. So the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Civilized Tribes, that's who it's for? How come they never get it right? They've become civilized and now they still need a declaration on the rights of indigenous people? Why do I say that? Because those Indians live in states. Those civilized tribes live in states, reservations on states. Federal Indian law, as we learned from the attorney who woke up, federal Indian law, according to his book, he has branded as federal anti-Indian law. This is from an attorney, y'all. Now, I will have to let you know what I have found out about Peter DeRico. It's nothing I found out, really. It was there when I read his document, but now it's come to the fore. Peter DeRico, unfortunately, does not understand international law. Now, he understands that nationally, in the federal system, we're getting freaked over, right? He understands that. Like many of us, he thinks that we can run to UNDRIP and to an international jurisdiction. Mr. DeRico might be a puppet and doesn't even know it, okay? I think he means well, I think, because he definitely is speaking against what we have here in the United States. He does understand that they are not in favor of Indians. But the part that he still doesn't understand is that this thing, UNDRIP, as we have seen from the first definition we looked at, this is also anti-Indian, okay? It is pro whatever the corporation recreated of Indians. That's what it's pro. But you see, when the corporation creates it, it is no longer what it was supposed to be. It is now a creation of the corporation. So now we're going to look for the word, the many uses of the term person. There's one, right? So that's the first one. There's 5 instances, actually. So when you're dealing with indigenous people, first of all, you're dealing with a state, right? A state is that is not a specific person. That is like a group of slaves, okay? So, and the state is sovereign, okay? Okay. So person, there's several. So now we got to deal with person. We got people, we got persons. We really don't have Indians. We'll look for Indians. I don't know if it's in here. I don't believe it is. Okay. But person. Indigenous individuals have the right to life, physical and mental integrity, liberty, and security of person. Okay, so that's one person. Let's see. Indigenous people, remember what people is, right? It's states of people, right? or people. It's a state. That's what we saw, a state, okay? So indigenous states have the right to revitalize, use, develop, and transmit to future generations their histories, languages, oral traditions, philosophies, writing systems, and literatures, and to designate and retain their own names for communities, places, and persons. So we're talking about persons. Now, this is more the use of the word that I was looking for, places and persons, okay? So that's number 2. Let's go to the other one. States shall take effective measures and, where appropriate, special measures to ensure continuing improvement of their economic and social conditions. Particularly, attention shall be paid to the rights and special needs of indigenous elders, women, youth, children, and persons with disability. So there's another person, right? The next one is right under it, so we don't really have to. Particular attention shall be paid to the rights and special needs of indigenous elders, women, youth, children, and persons with disabilities in the implementation of this declaration, okay? So we got a lot of reference to persons, right? Nothing in this declaration may be interpreted as implying for any state, well, that is what an indigenous a people is, right? A state, right? So nothing in this declaration may be interpreted as implying for any state, people, is one and the same, group or person, any right to engage in any activity or to perform any act contrary to the Charter of the United Nations, or construed as authorizing or encouraging any action which would member or impair totally or in part the territorial integrity or political unity of sovereign independent states. So they're not letting you destroy their states with a capital S. That's the kind of state you want to stay away from, because that's the federal created state. Now, if you had to be in a state, I would say take the one with the lowercase. Okay. But that you see that nothing is going to come. So they're giving their states priority over all of this. Okay. That I didn't even catch. But you see, Indians, what we're going to go for, we're not part of states. We don't go by it. In fact, they should be going on this landmass. You see, that's why we really need to get cracking, because they have a sort of system where if they get a whole lot of states on board, as we read, then they're going to consider that becomes binding law for even for people that are not in states, right? But you see, let's keep it simple. Let's keep it simple, stupid. You can do whatever you want with your states outside of the Americas. But within the Americas, we're going to always defer to that Constitution until this corporation realizes that it's not profitable to even operate on this landmass. If once Indians get out carte blanche, it's really not going to be profitable. I mean, the next thing would be, oh, let's just flood it with immigrants. Well, we're going to do something about that because Indians will have a say. You don't just bring people to my ancestral. This is my ancestral. The states do not override my ancestral land. You see, people, we got to get real when we talk rights of Indians, American Indians. We're not going to use indigenous. And I'm going to tell you why. That's our next thing. So we've seen all through this document that they're referring to persons. What is a person? That's the next thing we need to look at. When we looked at people, we're gonna look at that too, indigenous. Yeah. So what we want to look now is at a person, just a person. Man, this one should have been before that one. So a person is a man considered according to the rank he holds in society. Oh boy, I think I got it now, y'all. When the Washita brother said that UNDRIP applies to blacks, I see now, see, that's how the ancestors work. I didn't understand what he meant, but I think I'm looking at it right now. What rank do black people have in the caste system? I'll wait for let that sit with you for a minute. So a person is a man considered according to the rank he holds in society. Let's leave it right there for a minute. What rank is a white and what rank is a black? So this is what the brother was saying. Now I understand. I kept looking for, where do they say that people brought as slaves to America are also included in UNDRIP? It's right here, their person. That's how they're included in UNDRIP. That's how everything created by the corporation is included in UNDRIP, y'all. Indians, y'all think UNDRIP is your savior? Let Heru school you. Let Heru school you. And you know, I'm just going to say thank you to the deity itself. Ever since I named myself Heru, when I tell you the revelations I'm getting are above and beyond anything I've seen, heard, witnessed in these YouTube streets. Now, I ain't bragging on myself. I just said, ever since I used a deity that is a deity, let me get that correct. I'm not using, I'm aligning with the energy of the deity. What did this deity do? This deity fought for his birthright and won. When I tell you, y'all need to get real with yourselves and understand what deity is about. I'm not saying you have to be me or do what I do or believe what I believe, but I'm just saying telling you how you align yourselves. These days, the deities we dealt with, they're not the type of deities that are here to condemn you like that. No, they're not. That's why you have to get back to your system so you'll understand what it was about. But let's not make this a church session. It wouldn't be church even if we did get it. It wouldn't be nothing like what we've had. That's what we got to get rid of for us. Now, the corporation will hear that and get all scared, right? You can look, they can play their colonizer games outside of the Americas. This is all they're interested in. But I tell you, they expect their people to run to America once they abuse them. And I'm saying these people are going to have to stand up and fight the power, yo. And I don't mean, I never mean violence. We're doing this. Why do we have a Black's Law Dictionary, by the way? I should have said that we're looking at Black's Law Dictionary definitions. Okay, y'all, that's what y'all, somehow the people of the world, they have to stand up to oppression and do it in the most civil, what they call civil. I don't know, we just use words right now until we get a better understanding. But we're going to say we have to null and void their meaning. See, that's another thing Indians have to do. We have to say, we will use your terms because we don't know any. That's why we got to get out. There are no other terms but yours. That's how you got us. So for us, your terms have to be null and voided. You have to pretty much avoid the effect of these legal terms on American Indians because they should have never been used. So a person that the UNDRIP keeps referring to, persons, people, you think it's you Indians, right? Y'all jumping for that, reaching for that. Y'all still haven't learned from history, right? So you're doomed to repeat it. If you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it, Indians. UNDRIP is not talking to you. It's talking about people and persons. And now we understand why the Constitution, let's just say, it is defective. Shall we say that? It is defective, right? Because of the word we're looking at right now. Free person is not even defined as far as I know. We'll have to look. But we're looking at what a person is. It's according, see, we got hijacked, y'all. Person has to be qualified. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So this time, when you just say person, you're talking about, now you're bringing in the caste system. It's not Indians. It's not free persons. It's a caste system designation because it's only a man who's considered according to his rank in society, with all the rights to which the place he holds entitles him. So if you're black, you fall under black codes, mother. This makes me very upset, y'all. I told you I was fighting back tears. I think it was people that did it. I think that's what got me, because I realized, oh my God. Oh my God. We are so caught in a web, y'all. When I say again, we have to reject it completely because the words are traps defined by your colonizer. See, a colonizer draws back and pretends to not be a colonizer because he's got you using his words. He doesn't need to do anything. You speak your own demise. So how do you deal with something like that? How you do is you say all of these, when you can't even step in a courtroom, y'all. We're not supposed to anyway, but because every word is against you. Every word. Because they define them. So what we have to say is, due to your language being genocide to American Indians, we have to reject what you call states. We have to go back to what we had, y'all. We've got to get off our tails and start cracking. The first thing is, every word that we possibly use, it has to be null and voided when we use it. We have to start with a clear place, because it's going to take time for us to get new words, or basically, yeah, I think we still have to get new words. These are colonizers' words. So when they go down and write their history books, these words are going to be little cues to let people know we're still colonizing that ass. So everything has to be prefaced with the idea that this book is written in lingua franca. These words act as tools of colonizer for genocide of American Indians. That's how we have to label every book, y'all. Yes, every law book. That's how we have to look at it. We have to let this system know we've been tricked. And it goes to the Constitution. If the Constitution is talking about a person, that's why they were able to create blacks and whites and civil law, because see, they specified. What they did was they started out with something very broad, like person, and then they narrowed it down to a ranking of a man. And it's interesting because women are not really, well, a black woman, I guess, would be. But it's just, I think it gets so technical that we can even break down man versus woman. Because I think they're coming for indigenous men. So when they define something, whereas maybe in general terms we can say man represents men and women, we cannot be sure that that's the case when it comes to legalese. Legalese is a different language, and it depends on us using plain language to be fooled. You see, so they're drawing off of plain language, but they're redefining plain language. This is why the entire legal system for Indians has to be made null and void, meaning y'all can't even if we say the word, any agency, corporation, court, we shouldn't be in their courts. Let's just get that right off the bat. We have to let them know that every word that you're using, it has to be taken outside of the context of the Black's Law Dictionary. It has to be taken out of the context of any law that you've made, because you're using a word as a weapon of genocide and colonization, or colonization and genocide would be the actual order. Okay, so we looked at the use of the word person, and we realized it's erroneous, and it reaches the level of the Constitution, because the Constitution is not saying what kind of person, right? It's just saying person. Okay, so a person, look, we're not going to get all complicated with this. A person is a ranking of a man, and that whatever your rank is, that's the law that applies to you, only you, not to white people, but you who are called Black. You have a specific set of laws according to your rank. And we know American Indians' ranks are the lowest in the caste system. Find Isabel Wilkerson's book, Caste, The Origins of Our Discontent. That's a sister who is telling you that we are definitely in a caste system, okay? So that's the first word that we find. The second word, I tried to look for indigenous, because we want to say who's the indigenous states, okay? I didn't find indigenous, but as you peeped when I hit on it, let's look at indigena. Now, those etymology wizards, your ears should be perked up right about now. So there's no word for indigenous in the Black's Law. This is the first and second editions of the Black's Law Dictionary that we're looking at, because I have the first edition, and then I have a first and second combined edition. So all these definitions are coming from one of the two, okay? So we don't have indigenous, but I decided let's see what indigena means, because it's definitely the root of indigenous, right? And as you can see, indigena is Old English law. In Old English laws, that's all we going by. That's why we have to let it go. A subject born, wait a minute, a what? A subject, a who? A subject? So are you trying to tell me indigenous also means subject, born within the realm or naturalized by act of parliament? Wait a minute. This whole thing is for England. Again, y'all gotta open your minds here. They don't have a definition for indigenous, but look at indigena. Is that enough of the word indigenous for you to make you side-eye? You need to. So we might ask, well, how far away can indigenous be from this root word indigena, which you do define? Oh my God. Look at that, y'all. It's in Old English law only, right? Well, let's just say this is the legal version of indigenous, okay? A subject. So are they saying the rights of subject states? Is UNDRIP actually, it could be reinterpreted to mean the rights of subject states, because indigena is a subject. People is a state. Person, well, you have to specify what kind of person. Because like how the Moors do, when you have a multi-purpose word like more, you got to figure out what kind of more, which version of the word more do you mean? Is it someone on a ship? Is it someone who's black? Is it someone from Mauritania? Is it someone from Mu? Multi-purpose words are genocide to American Indians. Let's just cut to the chase. So indigena, well, we couldn't find indigenous, so we settled for the next. Actually, look at it. It's the only word that even comes close, because before that, we have indifferent, and after that, we have indirect. This is the closest you'll get to indigenous in the Black's Law Dictionary. And what is indigena? We might say indigenous. Maybe this is a plural form of indigena, is some kind of plural form of indigenous. Who knows? But let me tell you, the first, how many letters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Indigen, the first 7 letters do not bode well in the word indigenous. Forget the last 3. That's just qualifying a base word, basically. So indigena, let's read it again. In Old English law, which is all we're going by when we're being, who colonized us, y'all, right? So, a subject born within the realm. So it's not even born in a state, it's a realm, y'all. Or naturalized by act of parliament. And don't worry, people are state. Okay, so when you put indigena with people, you gotta say, see, it's not state, so it might not be a state. Well, realm is even worse. What the fuck is a realm, y'all? That's something that's not even physical, right? Pardon the F-bomb. I was trying to keep it light. So far, we can pretty much, well, y'all, I know y'all ain't gonna go with the indigenous because y'all so married to that word that you that don't count. I don't play with colonizer. I know his game. We all should, but some of us want to act like, oh no, we could make friends and play patty cake with the corporation. You know what I'm trying to do, y'all? And why do we as American Indians have a right to call this language dead to us? Because it deads us, okay? This language is a slow genocide of American Indians. That is our argument on a world stage, y'all. We look at the definitions of these words. Okay, so now we already saw person, right? Is all throughout, and we read people. That's a state. It's a collective in a political capacity, right? As in state of New York. They even went with the corporate version of state of New York State, y'all. This is pitiful. What do I mean? When you say state of New York, that's the federal version of the state, not the constitutional version. New York State is the constitutional version of a state. But I'm telling you, Indians are in neither. And you see why we need to stay far away from this, don't you, American Indians? Look at it this way. Those people that fought for freedom from England, they did not get it, y'all, because of the words. Now, they have a different fight, right? Because England is still calling rank over them with this word spells, y'all, with these legalese. They have to also make a similar claim about these words. That is our fight, y'all. That's why really it doesn't have to be a bloody war. This is a war of words. Words used secretly because they know that we don't know these different little twists and turns of these word spells. So all American, see, this channel is really for awakening American Indians. But as we free ourselves, we should I think, try to, this is what we fought for. This is what the Revolutionary War was. This was on our soil. So we do have a say. That blood was shed in vain if we don't understand what the Constitution was meant to do. Now, here's the thing. At the end of the end of the day, they're going to call rank even on the free people. Why? Because we're using a constitution, y'all. That's their shit. So they have effectively, permanently enslaved their people who fought for independence from the kings of England and from any monarchy, basically. That's what America was about. But they've allowed their colonizer to use terms like state. And that is what grabs them. The colonizer gave them that word because the colonizer knows all I need to do is provide you a set of words that I defined, and I know you will be my slave forever because you're standing in something I created, a state. So that's a fight for people, immigrants. I think what an immigrant is going to find is that they need to fight their battle at home. I'm sorry. I don't mean to sound like I'm trying to get rid of immigrants. I'm going to be honest with American Indians for 1 minute. They might not like what I say, but I've grown to appreciate. I, I guess I'm the type, and I think a lot of us are. There's a basic love of human beings of all different uh hues and ethnic. It just makes, I'll admit, there's something that makes it's intriguing to see different types of people. And that's just, I'm just speaking as a man, okay? Uh so I'm so used to it now that I think it would be a little odd to, and I know Indians might feel some kind of way. I think we're all like this, really. Um, uh, so what was I saying? I mean, that would make the Moors very happy. That unfortunately they will, they'll take credit for that. Yeah, I brought the different people here. Yeah, and I wish you took yourself out because I'd rather them than you, unfortunately. I really have to say it like that, y'all. They have meant us no good. These people are only here because the Moors meant to use them nefariously. Okay. That our true opponent is this entity that has broken away but never really wanted to leave. That's why I want to also call them sort of, I want to give them the punk ass on that, because you really, as big and bad as you are, you should have just stayed away. But you're just like any child. I want to come back home. You're big and bad, but you don't want to stand on your own. You had a whole kingdom outside of America, but it wasn't enough, right? America, I don't know what we got over here, but these MFers, they know. And I do think it just has to do with our history. They want to, that's what it is, y'all. Let me stop kidding myself. They want to erase the origin that is here in America. They want to do away with that. If they were to have it stand, they would have to insist that they are the ones that made our history, when that is not true. All they did was break away from it and then, try to use the we. But you were against what we were about. You went against what you say, you went against nature, right? When you started creating different versions of people. That is your edict. You said it was against uh uh nature, but you did it anyway. See, this is the problem with Moors. They try to make everybody guilty for shit that they did and do. But see, they know they must know that it's actually not the big sin that they say it is, but they will make you think it is and have you running around like a chicken without a head because you think you a sinner and blah, blah, blah. But yet they do it routinely, and it's a lifestyle for them to do so. They don't hold themselves back from anything, but they have to use everything to dominate our Indian ass. I'll go again with the bad. Try not to. Okay, so what's the next word? So when it comes to using the word person, we're gonna find, let's just cut because I'm all over the place. So that's person, right? Unqualified. Unqualified person is a man only according to the rank that he holds. Just leave it at that, y'all. It's gonna complicate it if you read the rest of it, I think. A little it's so in other words, whatever your ranking is, that's the kind of person you are. So a person has to be somewhat qualified. I say we do away with the whole damn meaning. That's what we have to do, y'all. We have to nullify all these words. We have to, y'all. That we've proven that the actions of colonizer were wrong, right? Even the Pope denounced the doctrine of discovery. So he denounced all the action. Now we have to denounce the nonverbal. Yeah. We have to denounce the wording, shall we say, of colonizer. We denounce the actions. Now we have to denounce the wording. The wording is worse than, it's really what brought the actions. Okay? So now that has to be denounced. Legalese, Black's Law Dictionary, if you want to talk about book burning, that is the book that needs to be burned for Indians. I think it has to be burned because it's a colonizer's way of telling you how he dominates you, and you don't even know it. See, that's the part that's unlawful, ungodly, because you're using words that have dubious meanings and you're making it mean the worst thing, and it's coming from you. In other words, the colonizer literally has to shut the fuck up in order for the world to fucking be what it needs to be. The colonizer has to stop writing, or write for yourself, write for your own family. You want to write documents? Let it apply to your family or your relations, because family is a whole other ordeal in Black's Law Dictionary, what that means, right? So what we have to insist upon is that any corporation or monarchy, all of that word applies only to you. Keep your words to yourself. Because when you put it out on the world, then you think that you own the damn world. This is the fight we're in, y'all. It's crazy, but this is what it is. Okay, so there's different types of persons, y'all. Now, we need to assume that when they use person and they don't qualify it, they're talking about artificial persons, because commerce is fiction, right? It's a fictitious entity. A commercial entity is a fictitious entity. So you're going to want artificial persons, right? So the law that we're in, everything is artificial, is what I'm saying. So this is the only type of person that would apply in international law or in commercial law, which is what we're under. But again, the whole thing has to go. The whole thing has to go because it's their wording. Indians really, I think the safest way to go is just we have to start learning our language, speaking our language, and then that will free us. That will actually free us. One of the first things we might need to do as Indians is establish our language schools. In fact, that will be what our schools would be about. Strictly learning our language. That will be the first round of schools, and we're going to focus on language. That's what Indians would need to do. I mean, we do have the safeguard in that we have to make it known. Legalese is genocide. It's not just to America, it's genocide to American Indians, but it's subjugation to all other men and women of the world. It might not be actual genocide for them, but it is actual genocide for American Indians. Okay, it actually is, because we don't stand on anything. We don't have a land to stand. We don't, because they have named our land into states. We have to stand on what the name was before the states were here if we're going to stand on something real. See, they're standing on fictitious stuff. Okay, Indians have to stand on natural stuff like our land. That's why the Moors prefer laws that really don't include land, because their plan is once they get the people off the land, naturally the land would belong to them because everyone else has been fictionized. And the Moors, because they're claiming nobility, they're going to assume that they own everything, right? Just like they're worse than the Pope, really. The Pope comes from them, not the other way around. Okay. So artificial persons related and devised by human laws. So see, that's when human becomes an issue. Persons, I can't see that word. Related, I think it's related, no, what is that word? Created, I'm sorry. Persons created, oh Lord, artificial persons created and devised by human laws. So what are human laws, y'all? See, everything we have to get out of this word conundrum. For the purposes of society and government, as distinguished from natural persons. Corporations, do you see that, Indians? Corporations are examples of artificial persons. So when we go back here, what kind of person are these? They have to be artificial, y'all. Regardless, they're not specifying what kind of person this is. So they're going to define it for us like they did when they gave us the term black and we didn't know what the fuck it meant. Pardon my French. So now we're going to run around being a person in UNDRIP, right? But a person is a corporation. That's what the brother meant. Now I understand what he meant. Between the use of the word people and person, that would include black persons, okay? Because a person is by rank. It's the rank he holds. That's what we read. We are ranked as black, while Europeans are ranked as white. So this is what the brother said. He said, UNDRIP also applies to those who were brought here against their will as slaves. Because slaves were then called black, that is the rank that they hold as a person. So UNDRIP actually does legally apply to anything, basically, because they're not qualifying person. But they're not saying natural, which is what we have to look up now. Natural person. Now, even though it sounds good, y'all, what I've learned is that something that sounds good in legalese, it can't be good because it was created by a monarchy or a church, shall we say. The Moors, okay? So natural person is preferable, but the fact that it is created by colonizer means it falls. You see why we have to just put an injunction on legalese, y'all? This is why. This is why. A natural person, such as are formed by nature, So UNDRIP is not specifying that it's for natural person. Indians would be nothing but natural, right? So UNDRIP does not apply to you, Indian. It applies to states and subjects and rankings of people according to their rank. UNDRIP is not. Yeah, I know Indians are upset. I know you are. But I've been saying this forever now. Isn't it time you listen? Isn't it time you listen? We're done when we use colonizer language or his documents or his words or his treaties or live in his states or his nations, his empires. I live on the linguistic ancestral land of my ancestors. I don't know what we're gonna call it, but I know that as I always tell you, that I come from Algonquin linguistic, you know, and so wherever that ancestral land uh was and is, I am free and sovereign upon it, and I'm standing on it right now. They have done all they could to rename this land, y'all. Okay. But again, natural persons, such as are formed by nature, as distinguished from artificial persons or corporations, formed by human laws for purposes of society and government. So a natural person would be the best thing. And let me tell you, it would have to say natural person each and every flipping time it is used in this system. But you know what, Indians? We've decided that this system, it is far more against us than for us in this system. Now, again, what we have to understand, yes, natural person would be more fitting, but it is still a word it's a word phrase created by your colonizer. He has creation rights upon it. That which colonizer gives, he can take away. This is what we have to understand about all of these terms. All of these terms are retractable on the whim of the monarchy that created. What Indians have to do is start writing ourselves back onto our land. Whatever we write, first of all, colonizer does not have a say over. He will not define what we write. We will define it. What does that mean? That we could take a word, right? And even if we misused it, we can say, oh, that's not what we meant. This is what it means. That's basically what colonizers doing with these words. Oops, that's not what we meant. This is what we, and then they'll create a new word like natural person. Like they'll use person to get your ass in, and then later on say, oops, but you didn't say natural. So you're still a slave. But actually, when you use natural person, you're still a slave as well. Because I created the word. We got to get this work in, y'all. Be swift. Wake up. Wake up. So, does UNDRIP say that these are natural persons, even though it doesn't make a damn difference because it was created by a colonizer? Let's see. It doesn't, y'all. I did this already. Why am I wasting my time? Why am I 0, 0? There's no natural person mentioned in this document. Okay. Now, what is the word we thought we should look up to see? Indian. I think Indian might be in here. Oops. Nope. No. Why? Because y'all, that is the one word that I think, look, the bottom line is they stay clear away from the word Indian. Why? Because it applies to Americans. Okay, it originally applied to Americans, but again, if the colonizer created even the word Indian for us, that eventually has to go as well. But for now, it is good to know that it is not in mentioned once in look, I can't even click. It's not here. What is here is person and people, right? Those are corporate creations, y'all, or monarchy creations, because what is a corporation but a monarchy in disguise? Come on, let's get with it. Let's get with it. Now, what else did I have here? I think that was it for now. I was going to go into that. We're just going to keep this video short because this has to be a standalone, okay? So we done took, namely, two words that this document is built on: people and persons. But again, we do want to remind ourselves that even our Constitution does, that's what I want to look up, free. Is there a definition for free persons? So let's look up free, and then we'll close out, because that is what the Constitution refers to. Now, this is, I'm sorry, is it doing it for me? What we have here? Free. Okay, well, come on now. Show me what you got. Because I really need to see this. Where is it at? Free persons. Where's it at? Page 306. Let's go to page 306. This is page 306. See, the number doesn't coincide with the actual. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Oh, shit, y'all. Don't tell me even free persons is a fucking slave. Because what I'm seeing here, but why is it not, why are you not highlighting it for me? Ah, here it is. Free servants, in general, all free persons. Oh, shit. Wait a minute. Oh, shit. A servant is one who is employed. You see, well, that's why they have commerce makes you a servant, y'all, because employment deals with commerce. So everybody, that's why we have some Indians who say correctly that we are all slaves, because see, when I told you that a corporation is a slave making entity, that's what, see, in a lot of our Indians, well, I want to be a corporation. I made a corporation, but I'll be a slave master. No, thank you, yo. See, you got to understand creation rights. I mean, it sounds like it could work, but the whole construct is colonizers' way of getting paid. As long as there's corporations in America, colonizers getting paid for that because he created it. He gets it in taxes, and I think he gets it in other ways as well. I do believe he gets it in other. I don't. Somehow corporations, let me tell you, they are paying their creator. Okay, that's all I know. That is all I. That's what a creator. That's why the monarchs created things, because the money is going to go back to them. The payment is going back to them, and the church who made the monarch. Whatever made the thing is going to pay its maker. Do you understand, Indians? Now let's go back here, because this is blowing my mind. Are you telling me a free person is a servant? I'm not ready for this level. Court of Magistrates and Freeholders. In American law, the name of a court formally established in South Carolina, okay, for the trial of slaves and free persons of color for criminal offenses. So they're not defining free person, okay? But we do have person, right? And we have natural person. So what is a free person? See, y'all? It would have to say free natural person, y'all. We've done broke it down. I hope Indians are listening, because this stuff, it can go above your head because it's so convoluted, y'all. But I think I just solved my problem. It should have said free natural persons in the Constitution. You know what I'm saying? So no, they don't have. So what we would have to look up is free. Well, let's see what that means. What the fuck? How did they reinvent the word free? Lord have mercy. So what are we learning today, Indians? If you're saying a free person, you're talking about a person according to his rank. It would have to be a free natural person who is what? Not ranked. So free. They said we don't even want to deal with that word. Seems like it's not in here. Let's go to F, and then we're gonna close out, y'all. Yeah. Uh, let's see if they defined free. You would think they would, because they are using the term free persons. Free. Okay, I think we're coming upon it. Free. Right. Unconstrained. Okay, let's make this big. Uh, where did you just go? What just happened here? Unconstrained. It's at the bottom of the page. Unconstrained, having power to follow the dictates of his own will, not subject to the dominion of another, not compelled to involuntary servitude. Involuntary. But free, wait a minute. You see, free, you can volunteer to be a slave, okay? This sense, as opposed to slave, not bound to service for a fixed period of what? Of years. In distinction to being bound as an apprentice, enjoying full civil rights. Civic. Oh, wait a minute. So civic is different from civil. They use civic. Now, now the next question is, what the see, it goes on and on and on, y'all. This is why we have to get out of this. They just come up with new words. I would have, it would have made sense for that to say civil rights, but what this is dictating to me is that civil rights is a misnomer. I know it is, but this just makes it more convoluted, because now you have to look up what is civic. Available to all citizens. See, now they're sneaking in the term citizen without charge, as a free school available for public. See, it starts off good and then it gets jiggy. Citizens available. So it's available. Freedom is available. Free is available. Wait, free. So free, we're working with the word free. So what they're saying is free is available to citizens. But it is a God-given right to men and women until we define men and women. But I do think that is the terms. So what I want to do now is make sure that we know that this is indeed the Black's Law Dictionary. You could see it up here at the top of the page, just to let you know. It's my Kindle Black's Law Dictionary the first and second editions from 1891 and 1910. Okay, just in, yeah, let's go back. Let's go here. Okay, do I have the first few pages? They got the cover. They took a picture of the cover, but that's the back cover, it looks like. Okay, so come on now, stop playing. Okay, so this is the Black's Law Dictionary, a dictionary of law. That's why we got to throw this whole crap away, y'all. So why can't I get the whole word of, the whole title here? Okay, so that's page 5. Where does it say Blacks, though? It is the Black's Law Dictionary, just Henry Campbell Black, okay? Freak, let's just settle for that for now. Henry Campbell Black, this is his dictionary, okay? I'm trying to get to the cover, but it don't want to take me. That's the they got the cover as the second page. Excuse me. But needless to say, this is the Black's Law Dictionary. Just so you know, okay? This is the first edition, but it's the first edition along with the second edition, as you see up here, right? It's my Kindle. So on that note, where do we want to go? I think we want to close that. So we just broke down the problem with UNDRIP. Indian, you have to create what it is you want. You see, when you create it, you can define the words. That's the beauty of it. But I do caution us to not use words that we should stay away from these type of words. I think we should veer toward men, the use of the term men and women, sons and daughters, and not these. We want to really be distinct, because what I think happens, I said this before, what happens is as time goes by and we keep using slave master words or colonizer words, it's going to look like we are still colonized. It's going to, and the colonizer will be able to show that by us using their words, they're submitting to our, they're subjugating themselves to us. And what we have to show and prove is that that was done in ignorance, number one. And number two, all of your words subjugate anyone, because you're a monarchy. You're a Church of Rome. So you dominated the language so that you could dominate the people. And so therefore they're never free, because they're still using your language. Your language is death. They say death and life are on the tongue. Never has it been so true than with what we're seeing with Black's law, legalese, and English law, or British law, British words, and we got to call an injunction of some sort, if that word is not hijacked. We just have to say they do not apply to Indians. None of this apply. And then and even if we do use it, it's null and void, because it is genocide. If you believe in the rights of American Indians, fuck indigenous people. What about the rights of American Indians? They ain't gonna want to say nothing to that, y'all. Because as we saw, indigena. What was that again? Let's be real quick with it. What was indigena? It's an Old English law. In Old English law, a subject. Okay, so United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Subject Corporation and States, because actually people is a state. So when they say peoples, they mean states. Okay. Are Indians ready to throw away this document and create our own? Are you ready now? Start to writing. First, my thing is we have to do our individual declarations. And we in that declaration, we will say something to the effect of this document, no words in this document are to be seen as legalese or referring to Old English or New English law. These are outside of subjugation. These words are outside of they are incapable of subjectifying the speaker, or the man or the woman, so and so and so, whatever. And we just got to be clear, what we're saying is in plain words, not legalese. And what we're saying is none of the legalese words, none of the code statutes. We don't live in states. We live on our, as far as we know, our ancestral land. Anything, it's going to be outside of the jurisdiction. We declare it to be outside of the jurisdiction of colonizers and church establishments or church corporations or any corporation. So that's how we begin, a declaration. And then we just say what we basically what we're declaring is that we stand on our ancient we are the first people of America, evidenced by Lucia, although they're trying to hijack her. But one evidence is Lucia, the fossil of the woman found in America. That's the oldest, more than 2,000, or just about 2,000 years before Mongolian bones were found, or or Mongolians appear. So we are the first people. We've been reclassified. We have proof of the reclassification. Anybody called Black, Negro, Colored, African American, Mulatto, they were well, actually, not all of them were, but these were Indians. But you see, as Indians, ironically, we didn't really colorize ourselves. You see, the colonizer, he had to use color and sort of making a colorable law, and then use our skin tone as a rough pointer to what status we would be. So if we would had a darker skin, we just going to be called Black, right? So they're literally using our skin. But what I'm saying is Indians, we really didn't go by skin. We knew that it was a culture. It was our culture, but it was something that came from us. And so we didn't colorize ourselves. Colonizer did, because he didn't want the full bloods, the dark skin, Lusia, quote unquote, what they call Negroid. He didn't want us, the full bloods, to have any power on the land. And we have the most here in the Americas. So really, our job is not really that hard, Indians. We have to declare that we are outside of the jurisdiction of the United Nations. We are outside of the jurisdiction of the federal government. We are outside of the jurisdiction of the states. In fact, they're standing on our land. This is our land that they have hijacked. And if they believe in the right, well, see, they don't. They don't believe in the rights of American Indians. That's not what this document is about. It's, again, United Nations declaration, their declaration, not ours, on the rights of subject states. That's how this reads in their language, because they created it. United Nations Declaration on the rights of subject states. Maybe that'll be the name of this video. I don't know. But for now, we're going to say this was a eye-opening video for me personally, but I stand on it. I've been saying it forever. It's not a popular message, I see, and that's okay. But it is the message. Thank you for watching. I wish you peace, health, wealth, your land back, your identity back. That is your health and wealth, your land, basically. All the great things. Until next time, be and stay highly favored. Thank you.